Hello and welcome back to Born to Rant. I'm Brandon, and this week we are taking a look at the Citizen Kane of baseball movies. The movie that spawned 100 different catchphrases.
You're killing me, Smalls.
And the movie that introduced all of us to the story of The Beast. That's right, today we are diving deep into 1993's The Sandlot, written and directed by David Mickey Evans, and starring a truly perfect cast that includes Tom Guiry, Mike Vitar, Patrick Renna, Chauncey Leopardi, Marty York, Brandon Adams, Grant Gelt, Victor DiMattia, Shane Obedzinski, Karen Allen, Denis Leary, and James Earl Jones. We'll take a look at the movie's real-life origins, how it all came together, what filming in the summer of 1992 was like, everything that keeps us coming back to the movie, and its legacy over 30 years later. Now, this is a movie that I have kind of a unique relationship with. Much like most of you, I'm sure, my family owned it on VHS, and I watched it over and over again as a kid. And I covered Rookie of the Year a few weeks ago, and in that video, I said one of the dumbest things I think I've ever said on this channel, that I would take that movie over The Sandlot. And after watching both so close together, it is clear to me that Rookie of the Year is a great time, but The Sandlot is an actual classic and a damn near perfect movie. So not only was this movie big for me as a kid, but I also have a little sister that's 8 years younger than me, and this was her favorite movie growing up, the one that she would watch over and over again. So I've seen this movie roughly 10,000 times is what I'm trying to get at. And I'm not even a baseball guy. Not that I hate baseball, but it's not something I follow at all. My point is that this movie is so flawlessly executed that it doesn't really care if you like baseball or not. It's a coming-of-age summer movie wrapped up in a baseball MacGuffin, and it is straight up perfect. The structure of the script alone is enough to make this movie a classic, but it's the way that it manages to give all 9 of these kids unique and engaging personalities. They all look and talk completely different from one another, well, except for Tommy and Timmy.
Kiss it goodbye. Kiss it. Shut up, Tommy.
But even that is done fully intentionally. It really feels like every single one of the kids get to deliver at least one line that has gone on to become an absolute classic.
You play ball like a girl!
And most of the kids end up getting multiple moments to shine. And for me, the thing that's always stood out about The Sandlot is the fact that it's really about the power of neighborhood myths and storytelling. It's the way that all of the kids absolutely believe Squints' story without question. Like even Benny, who's clearly the oldest of the boys, is fully bought in, even telling Babe Ruth that the Beast
ate one kid already.
Is that a fact?
But I think before we start getting too deep into everything that makes The Sandlot special, let's go back in time and learn just a little bit more about how the movie came to be. And it all begins in the fall of 1990 when David Mickey Evans was fired as director of the movie Radio Flyer, a movie that he had written and sold to Columbia for over $1 million.
Which is good work if you can get it.
And Evans was fired after only 10 days of filming and replaced by Dick Donner. So needless to say, Evans was feeling pretty down, but he knew the only way to continue on was to write and sell another screenplay as quickly as possible. And one day, while stuck in traffic, his mind drifted to a story from his childhood where his brother was bullied by a group of kids and then mauled by a neighborhood dog while trying to retrieve a lost baseball. And with that, The Sandlot was born. The script would make its way to Mark Berg, who worked as an executive at Island World Productions, and he absolutely loved it. He even offered Evans the chance to direct because he felt like everyone deserves a second chance, plus everyone he asked about Evans said that he couldn't direct, and his mind just thought, well, they can't all be right, and he gave Evans a $7 million budget. As for casting, it sounds like it was a very long process, with most of the kids doing multiple callbacks and doing different chemistry readings with different actors until the production finally dialed into the crew that we know and love today. It does sound like most of the boys had at least some experience playing baseball, but even still, Evans shipped them all off to a Little League field in Encino, California, and put them with character actor Daniel Zacapa, who actually plays Squints' grandpa in the flashback sequence, and he had the boys just practice non-stop for weeks on end until they could hit a double play as a team with absolutely no issues. And on June 22nd, The Sandlot would go into principal photography, with most of the movie actually being shot in Salt Lake City, Utah, although there were a few scenes shot on sound stages in Los Angeles, specifically the interior of the treehouse for Squints telling the story of the Beast. And Evans has described the shoot as chasing squirrels and herding cats, and who could blame him? He had 9 boys, all aged like 12 to 15, all traveling with their families, and it was over 100 degrees most of the days they were filming.
It's so hot! out here!
And it does sound like for the first couple days, the boys were incredibly difficult and unruly until cinematographer Anthony Richmond offered to talk to the boys. And when he did, he got on their level and essentially told them to get their shit together, which they all agreed to do. Well, except for Leopardi, who asked for a Playboy magazine as collateral, which Richmond agreed to, although Leopardi swears he has no memory of this interaction. It sounds like overall, filming went pretty smooth. There were no big issues, no big reshoots, no big personnel changes, just a pretty standard shoot, and the kids and crew have all likened the shoot to feeling like one big baseball camp, because they were just constantly playing. Even the adults during lunch break started playing and even set up their own mini-league that was the above-the-line crew versus the below-the-line crew. And filming went so well that halfway through production, the movie was actually acquired by Fox for distribution, which is very cool and something that rarely ever happens. Actually, filming did hit one big snag, and that was filming at Dodger Stadium. Initially, the stadium just flat out told the production no, that it would not happen. That is until one day when cinematographer Anthony Richmond told Evans to get in his car, and they drove to Dodger Stadium, where Richmond was waved onto the lot, and he walked into Dodger manager Tommy Lasorda's office without knocking. And anyway, as soon as Richmond told him they needed the stadium for filming, Lasorda said no problem, just tell whoever I said it was okay. And production would wrap in August of 1992, and the movie would go into a really fast post-production process, which I think makes a lot of sense since like 80% of this movie takes place at one location, and there was very little needed in the way of special effects. And finally, on April 7th, 1993, The Sandlot was released into theaters, and on its opening weekend, it would place second at the box office and make $4.9 million against its $7 million budget, before ending on a worldwide total of $34.3 million, making it a massive success. But obviously, The Sandlot wasn't just successful at the theater, it was a runaway success on home video as well, becoming a staple in pretty much every 90s household. Apologies for the interruption, but I wanted to just jump in and quickly tell you that today's video is brought to you by the members of the Born to Rant Patreon and our channel members here on YouTube. Members get early access to videos, access to exclusive videos like this one on the Burbs and this one on the Golden Child. Born to Rant is a completely independent channel, so memberships really help me keep the lights on. And now is a great time to join because I've set every tier on both Patreon and YouTube to be free for a trial period. If you're interested in joining, there's a link to join the Patreon in the description below, or a button beneath this video to join as a channel member. And even if joining as a member isn't really your thing, you can still really help me out by either liking the video or subscribing to the channel. And with all of that out of the way, I think it's time for us to grab our gloves and some s'mores fixins and dive into everything that makes The Sandlot still worth watching today.
Squids was perving a dish. Shut up, I wasn't. Yeah, you were!
Now, there are roughly 101 reasons to keep watching this movie on a loop, but let's start with the opening of the movie. First of all, the score by David Newman sets the perfect tone for the movie. It has this wonderful, nostalgic, but magical quality to it, and when I put the movie on to watch for this video, the score just instantly hit me like a ton of nostalgic bricks. Also, I learned that the narrator is actually director David Mickey Evans, and I think his narration is really the glue that holds the entire movie together. Like, the way it manages to effortlessly stitch together all of these vignettes is truly perfect. Like, I like how he says,
"And he got me out of the biggest pickle I'd ever be in,"
to set up the story, and the preamble to the pool day is one of my favorite bits of narration as well.
But of all the things we ever did besides baseball, going to the pool was what he tolerated best.
There's also the beautiful cinematography by Anthony Richmond. It has this very vibrant look to it, like the movie just feels like summer when you're watching it, but obviously the 4th of July night game is one of the highlights of the movie. Not only the colors of the fireworks lighting up the sky, but the way he photographs each of the boys' faces and their looks of pure wonderment. But I think realistically, there are two things that keep all of us coming back to The Sandlot over and over again, and that is the screenplay and the cast. And the script for this movie is pretty damn perfect if you ask me. I like that we open up in the present before going back to the summer of 1962, and once we're there, we're quickly introduced to the story. We've got Scotty Smalls moving to the San Fernando Valley with his mom and new stepdad, and things are a little awkward at home, and Scotty doesn't have any friends or any real interests. But it's the way that Benny takes a shine to him immediately that I think really helps this movie hit the ground running, and apparently Evans had Tom Guiry and Mike Vitar meet before the rest of the cast and start rehearsals rehearsals together a few weeks early, which I think really gives their characters this extra sense of just understanding one another. It's the way that Benny knows how to get the ball right into Small's glove, and the way he gives him not only a new glove, but a new hat as well. The movie also does a fantastic job of introducing us to this massive cast. I mean, we've got 9 main boys, and they each feel distinct and different from one another. Well, again, except for Timmy and Tommy Timmons, and even that makes them stick out from the rest of the group. But okay, let's break down this cast a little bit. Obviously, Guiry and Vitar are pretty flawless as Smalls and Benny, and they both get a lot of chances to shine throughout the movie. But I think if there is one character that kinda sorta manages to steal the spotlight from them, it's obviously Patrick Renna as Hamilton Ham Porter. I mean, he has like all of the best lines in the movie, from
Is that your sister out there in left field, naked?
to
You're killing me, Smalls!
and even,
You play ball like a girl!
and apparently that line was originally written for Benny to say, but on the day of filming, Evans decided that at this point in the story, Benny was already too much of a neighborhood legend to be beefing with the local Little League team like that. But the rest of the boys are fantastic as well. Obviously, Chauncey Leopardi as Michael Squints Palladorus is unbeatable, and he gets 2 incredible scenes in the movie, the first being the origin of the beast, but I think the one everyone really remembers is him kissing Wendy Peppercorn. Also, I didn't realize it until this watch through that Wendy is played by Marley Shelton, aka Alicia from Warriors of Virtue. When they filmed the pool scene, it was apparently the coldest day of filming, and that's why the boys are all shivering throughout the scene. Anyway, all of that to say that both the pool scene and the story scene are absolutely iconic and huge parts of why this movie is still remembered today. There's also Marty York as Alan Yaya McLennan, and he doesn't get quite as many chances to shine as some of the other boys, but he does have a few moments that always stick out to me, like this.
Oh, Wendy Peppercorn, my darling lover girl, huh?
And when he does the Bugs Bunny thing while being lifted up after seeing the Beast. As for Brandon Adams as Kenny DeNunez, I do think it's a little strange that he was probably the most experienced actor on set, having already been in The Mighty Ducks and The People Under the Stairs, but he kinda has the least amount to do out of any of the boys, but obviously it's his trash talk from the mound that we all love and remember. I also really love the touch of him wearing a Kansas City Monarchs hat. And finally, there is Grant Gelt as Bertram Grover Weeks, and I mean, Bertram gives us the iconic chewing tobacco scene and the best of the epilogue updates on each of the boys.
Bertram got really into the 60s, and no one ever saw him again.
And I mean, the adults in this movie are no slouches either. Karen Allen is absolutely perfect as Scotty's mom. Her little speech about getting into trouble is one of my favorite scenes of the movie, because this is exactly the kind of person my mom was when I was a kid. Denis Leary is also hilarious as the stepdad Bill. Like, him trying to teach Scotty to play catch is such a highlight of the movie, as is him slapping this fat steak over Scotty's eye after he gets hit by the ball. Plus, James Earl Jones gives his best performance in any baseball movie ever. Well, I don't know. I guess his performance in this and Field of Dreams are pretty neck and neck for me, but I love the excitement in his voice when he's talking to the kids about baseball and his history with the sport. Also, fun fact, all of the baseball collectibles in this movie were from prop master Terry Haskell's personal collection that he'd been working on for over 3 decades at that point. Now, there was just one thing that I did kind of bump up against when rewatching the movie, and that's after the Babe Ruth ball has been knocked into the Beast's territory, and we get the extended sequence of the boys trying various ways to get the ball back. So I'm kind of a nerd about editing and pacing, and this is really the only thing in the movie that I think could have been trimmed down, and I say that with love. I don't even necessarily think any of these attempts should have been cut fully, because I think they all have their merits, although I do really think the pacing would have been just a hair stronger if we only saw 2 attempts, and then attempt number 3 gave us Benny's dream with Art LaFleur's cameo as the Babe, which leads to Benny buying the new pair of PF Flyers, which of course guaranteed
To make a kid run faster and jump higher.
But really, I do like all of the attempts. I think it just kind of stalls the movie out for a minute. But obviously, the final chase with Benny and the Beast through the town is just fantastic. Like, the use of Wipeout by the Safaris is absolutely perfect, but I just really love the way this sequence takes us through the entire town and all of the various little obstacles Benny has to deal with in trying to escape the Beast. I think my favorites are probably the cake, and then obviously being a big fan of movies and movie theaters in general, I do love when they burst through the screen of the Wolfman, again, but it's when they all make it back to the Sandlot and the beast crashes through the fence that the movie just really brings it all home. This could have been a really sad moment for the movie or left a sour taste in all of our mouths, but I really love that at the end of the day, it's Benny and Smalls that know to do the right thing and save the beast, who of course in return rewards them with a giant collection of baseballs. And then we get the wonderful scene with James Earl Jones and the epilogues for all the boys before we cut back to the present and watch as Benny is now playing for the Dodgers, and he's actually played by Mike Vitar's older brother Pablo, by the way. And I love that the movie ends with Benny stealing home and him and Smalls giving each other a thumbs up, and the older Scotty is played by an uncredited Arliss Howard. So over 30 years later, what is the legacy of The Sandlot? Well, I think it's widely considered to be both the best kids sport movie and best baseball movie of all time. Honestly, I think it's also one of the best coming of age movies ever made as well, right up there with Stand By Me. But I think a big part of the movie's legacy is just the way it brings all of these performances together inside a script that is nostalgic and heartfelt. And I think a big part of why this movie works is the performances of all the kids. Evans and the kids have all stated that while they were filming, more and more of their actual personalities started to bleed into their characters, and I really think that's the thing that makes this movie special. All of these kids feel like real kids, and watching them grow up over the course of 101 minutes is honestly really special. Like, yeah, The Sandlot is a baseball movie, but it's also just an incredible coming-of-age summer movie. Actually, the original title for the script was The Boys of Summer, which I think could have worked just as well. And the actors for the movie routinely reunite for various anniversary specials and gatherings, although Mike Vitar is completely retired from public life and happily works as part of the Los Angeles Fire Department. There was also some movement at one point about a prequel movie written and directed by Evans, but there hasn't been any movement on that in almost a decade. There was also a sequel series with the original cast in the works at one point, but that was canceled during the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strikes. And of course, there was also a direct-to-DVD Sandlot sequel in 2005 and a prequel in 2007, although I've never seen either one. But let me know in the comments, would you actually want to see a proper Sandlot sequel with the original cast? How about a prequel written by Evans? If you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching, and as always, an extra special thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and our channel members here on YouTube. I truly could not do it without you all. Don't forget, you can join the Patreon or become a channel member at any tier for a free trial period, and you'll get access to bonus videos on The Burbs and The Golden Child, with a new bonus video coming every single month. And that's going to do it for Born to Rant this week. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.